Hi everyone, it's Caroline and I'm doing another homeschooling review, and today I'm going to talk about Singapore Dimensions Math 1A and 1B for first grade level. So we've been using Singapore Math since pre-K. So we did the pre-K, KA, KB, and then we did KA, Kindergarten A, Kindergarten B, and then now we just finished the first grade level 1A and 1B. So I've got both sets of books, and I'm going to tell you what we think about it and what we love about it, basically. So there are a couple options. First of all, if you're going to go the Singapore math route, it's super famous. It's all about kind of abstract thinking. It's got a lot of word problems, and they are more math savvy, not fact savvy, if that makes sense, when they are able to use this. So the two main options for Singapore math that you can get are either Dimensions Math, which is the one I got, or Primary Math. The main difference, and I've never actually used the Primary Math, but from what I could tell from my research, is aesthetics, the way that the workbooks look. I think the material is very similar, but this is more of a modern kind of drawing, and also, I feel like there's fewer pages per section. They kind of combine a lot of things in one page, so each chapter might only be, or each section, maybe only 3 pages, 2, 3, or 4 pages. And also, I could be wrong, but I thought it had, this was a little bit faster to get through from when I was browsing through my friend's primary math book. It looked like maybe there was more problems, or at least it looked like it to kids. So we went with this one. Now, that being said, the Dimensions Math has more words. Reading, writing, things like numbers, or word searching number names, or reading word problems and writing down, what color was the most beads, not circling which color, but actually writing it down in the space. Now, when I compared that to my primary math, my friend's book who was doing primary math, she didn't have much of that. So if you had a struggling reader/writer and they wanted to do, they would be frustrated with that, you might want to check another video of primary math. But my daughter was fine with reading, and I liked how this encouraged kind of a supporting English role. So even though we were doing math, it felt like I was encouraging her to read the instructions, to read the stories, the word problems, and then to try and write in the answers. It wasn't really up until probably 1B that she was able to work fully independently. And she almost was able to teach most chapters to herself through the textbook and the workbook. And when I go through those, you'll understand why. It's written very methodically and well, easy to understand even in the textbook. So because I think I encouraged her to, we would read them together. It was more hands-on for pre-K and kindergarten, and a little bit more in first grade, where I would have to read her everything that was in the instructions and whatnot, but I'd have her read it with me. So that kind of encouraged her to read and understand the instructions and realize, oh, well, that's what they want me to do. So she's able to work independently now, which I love. You know what I mean? When you have other kids, you're going to be happy when your older kid is a little bit independent until it gets tricky for them and they don't understand. Then they can ask you. Okay, so let me talk about what I got. I've got teacher manuals for 1A, 1B, and I have the textbooks for each and the workbooks for each. So I'm going to show you first what is covered in the 1A. And actually, if you look online, you can also see, and they have in every teacher manual, what's covered in the previous years, so you can kind of get a feel for what you should know before you enter. Also, I believe if you go onto their website, they've got little quizzes or something that you can do to see if you are ready for 1A. So, first of all, for 1A, it starts off with a review okay? And they do this with everyone, and it's because this is a school curriculum, and I'm assuming they know there's a summer break, so they need to review. They're not going to keep moving on. You probably, the kids forget a lot of things over the summer. So they've got numbers to 10 and relearning how to do number bonds, how to make 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then there is addition, subtraction, numbers to 20, addition to 20, subtraction within 20, shapes and ordinal numbers like first, second, third. So this is the first semester. Before I move on to the second semester, I want you to take note that in kindergarten B, which was the second semester, they were also doing numbers to 20 and number bonds, how to make the 6s and the 7s. So they do review this stuff again. Addition and subtraction. So that is why we kind of fly through a lot of the first chapters, because we don't stop. We don't take summer breaks. We take random breaks every once in a while when we want to go on vacation. We don't have a specific, okay, we're going to be off for 2.5 months, because I don't believe that that's good for their brains. So that's what we do. So it's a lot easier. It just makes more sense for us to fly through them. I'll write down the answers and I'll just ask her, okay, let's see if you remember how to do this. Here's some extra practice. And then she'll answer them and we'll move on. So then for 1B, there you do length, comparing numbers to 40, addition and subtraction within 40, grouping and sharing, fractions, number to 100, addition and subtraction within 100, time, and money. Okay, so let me explain to you how this teacher manual works. So they have a really nice, using the teacher's guide section, I will just show you so you can pause and read it if you want. But basically, before each chapter, there will be an overview. And this overview will tell you the recommended number of class periods and what each of the sections are going to be, and the pages in the textbook and the workbook and what it is. So this can help you schedule if you're wanting to follow a similar schedule. It can help you schedule your class days. See, then they also kind of do an overview of the chapter. So what did they learn in kindergarten A, and then things that will carry through, comparison terms, and that kind of thing. Materials they'll need for this chapter. And then there's also Blackline Masters. And what this is if you go online to Dimensions Math and type in Dimensions Math, Singapore Math, Blackline Masters, you can filter by book, so 1A, and by chapter, and then they've got printables for you. So you might not have number cards or plus minus cards, so you can look and see what you need and print it out, and you can use them for the different games they have in the sections. For example, blank 10-frame card, 10-frame cards, number cards, color it, trace it, write it, make a match cards. Then they also have suggested storybooks. I have never used the storybooks just because, I don't know, we have other stories we're reading at the time. But I find it very interesting that they have this, because this could be a really nice support for English. So this is, I mean, I might actually look into this next time. When I get the next section, I might try and do a little bit of that. And then they also have letters home, which is for, of course, if you're at school, this is the letter that they send home for parents. And then they've got activities. So just for numbers 1 to 10. So it has a space even for you to write notes if you want to about what you want to do. So what they'll have is they'll have a picture of the textbook. Now some people say, oh, you don't need the textbook because it's in the teacher manual. Just get the teacher manual and the workbooks. I disagree. I think it's very nice that the kids have a colored textbook to work from. And also, since my daughter teaches herself right now math, the textbook also has a structure that teaches her in the textbook. So she doesn't always need the teacher manual from me. But anyways, it's here. so that you can know which page it's corresponding to. And then they always have a chapter opener, which has discussions for you to discuss with the kid about this whole concept that you're going to go through and some activities. And then it'll start with lesson 1. And again, this is the textbook. And the textbook chapters are always split into sections. So there's always a think section where the kids are supposed to think about something. And then there's a learn. So, for example, here it was think. How many are there? And then they will teach you how to do it, which is why my daughter is able to teach herself. It'll ask her a general question or a specific question that she might not know the answer to, but then after in the learn section, it'll have these cute little cartoon people teaching you how to do it and whatever it is you're doing and how they were thinking about it and what they were doing in order to get the right answer. So after the think and learn, then there's a do. And so there'll be exercises for you to do with little squares that are empty and you fill in the numbers, you do that. And then there's also in the teacher manual activities. So if you're a very hands-on homeschooler, you like to do, games and fun activities with your math, this is invaluable because it's right there with your section you're doing. So that's why I also think, the teacher manual is valuable for that. And then at the very bottom, it'll have a pencil at the end of the textbook which says which page in the workbook to go to that's related to what you just did in the textbook. And this is an excellent time for me to, let me get one more. And then sometimes they have extra stuff like this. Color it, trace it, write it, kind of things you can print on Blackline Master. These are extra activities as well. Next number snap. So they have a lot of games and activities that you can do. And then the exercise that you're going to do in your workbook. So this is a good time to open up the textbook. So I'll show you textbook for 1A. Let me show you a different section than the one I just showed you. Let's see, for example, lesson 4 of chapter 4, word problems. Okay, so as I said, there is a little bit more hands-on reading, but there's always a think section. And then it'll say, write an equation for each story. There are 11 avocados. 5 avocados are in a plate, the rest are in a bowl. How many avocados are there in the bowl? And this is such an applicable problem in life, right? If you're talking about, I've got this many cookies, my friends are coming over. If I've got 5 on the plate, how many do I have in the tray? Do I have enough to share with everyone? Or 5 have gotten eaten, how much are left? So, this kind of thing, very applicable. Now, then it'll go into the learn section. And you can also use little cubes to correspond with it, but you don't really need to because they have them drawn there for you. So most of the time, we didn't really need to use manipulatives because she was able to circle and visualize it. But if your kid is kinesthetic and needs to hold things, then it corresponds with this. They can get the cubes and do it. They show you how to do the number bonds, and then the part in the part, and how to get to the right answer. So let's see, this lesson, for example, is 4 pages. I don't think I've ever seen a lesson more than 4 pages. And the problems are quite big, as you can see. So it doesn't feel overwhelming because there's 2 problems on a page. Again, this is it's not really facts entirely. That you do need to know the facts for 1 through 10, like addition and subtraction to 10, because you use that to build on for the rest of all, to 100, to 1,000. You'll be using those math facts, but you don't really need any math facts higher than 10 to be memorized. And this is all kind of giving you a strong math concept of how to visualize and solve real-life problems. And I like to come up with some of these things with her. There's some where they have open-ended problems where you have to come up with your own story. Let's see if I can find some. Maybe it's in 1B. Oh, like these, for example. Write an addition equation for each picture. So this is the kind of open-ended thing I just love about Singapore math, because you've got a few ways you could do it. You could say, oh, there's, for the snakes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snakes with their pink tongues out, and 2 snakes with no tongues. 7 plus 2 is 9 snakes together. And then the other kid could say, oh, I know a different way to do that. There's 5 on the left and 4 on the right. So 5 plus 4 snakes makes 9. So the same thing with the ball. The open-ended problems where you could see how there's multiple ways to discover things. Now back to what I was saying with the word problems. I'm sorry, I'm so scatterbrained. Yes, so this is the last page of the word problems. See, they're it's very fast in my opinion, and you can get through them, but they're written in a way that builds a really strong math foundation. That being said, there is sections for learning facts. Let's see, in subtraction, for example, here, there was one for addition that looked just like this, where you're supposed to get cards and write them down, put them together, answer them, whatever you do to basically solidify the math facts. Now, before this, you've done how to make 7, how to make 6, how to make 8. So you kind of are building up to this, and then by the time you get to subtraction facts, you really shouldn't move on until you know them. Now, this is what I'm talking about with writing. There's a little more reading, writing than the primary math. I'll probably find another one somewhere. But for the most part, apart from the reading, it's just numbers, you know. So, they kind of do an overview, and here's the contents, and this is what it looks like. I like the aesthetic. I like how clean it is. It's not distracting or, you know, overly funny. And as you can see, they kind of have the 10 frames there. They've got the not manipulatives, I guess. You don't really need to have things when you've got colored pictures where you can, you know, draw an X through them or circle them. So this was very, because I'm really a minimalist, this was very minimal. I didn't need to add in a lot of stuff, I felt. And then when there were problem sections, that is when we would get manipulatives. But for the most part, we didn't need it just because how well it's illustrated. And almost every problem would have some sort of illustration with it. So this is kind of an overview of what the textbook looks like. And the shapes were pretty complicated, honestly. Let's see, and in the end there's like a practice, which kind of goes over a few different concepts for the whole thing, and you end like that. Okay, so that is 1A. Now what does the textbook look like? So it is not color. In the same way, it's got the contents. As you can see, there's a little more reading, but still numbers. I really love the workbook. I think everybody should get the workbook. It's the best workbook ever. I mean, when you go to the store and you want some really fun, kind of challenging problem-solving workbooks, you get something like this. Look at that. You know, there's some coloring things, matching or connecting. There's some word searches in here. And there's challenge problems as well that honestly, sometimes I have to take a second to figure them out, and my daughter's already figured it out. It's just the way their brains are developing through this program. They understand these basic concepts really well. And even though it's not colorful, I kind of like that better. Less distracting, and it allows them to do the coloring. So, color two numbers next to each other that make 7, and then you wind up drawing a 7. It's pretty cool. And if you've had a child that's never done Singapore math, they do a lot of review, and you can really catch up pretty easily. So, yeah, I mean, I thought this was cool too. There's a lot of cool concepts in here, and different exercises they use. A lot of visual drawings that help you, your kids not have to use manipulatives for, boring. They don't have a lot of boring math. If that's they've got drawings to go with it. And the idea of the workbook is that the kid can do this by themselves after they've done the textbook with you. That is the idea. And even this is pretty interesting, right? They've got some pretty cool problem-solving ideas in here. So this is 1A. Now we did do this, but I actually photocopied it because the shapes was a really hard one for her and she kept getting confused, so I did wind up photocopying those for her and using Magnetiles. So we did that. Now textbook 1B. Very similar. Very nice designs, not overwhelming. Each section is 2 to 4 pages. Doing bigger numbers, and I was actually surprised at how well she was able to move from, subtraction and addition in 20 up to within 100. It really was no problem at all. It was because she was using the same tools that she had learned from 0 to 20 in all the way to 100. And then there was also sections for sharing and adding in equal groups. And this was a really big wow factor because I realized this is going to be an amazing foundation for multiplication. How to split things into equal groups. Because if you've got 5 groups of 3 salmon sushi, well, that's 15 if you multiply them together. But they're visually seeing. And after this, when she picked up a 2nd grade workbook and there was multiplication, she knew how to do it right away. So that was really impressive how they worked that in kind of in a fun way in the grouping section. It was great. See, fractions, and see, even in the think, this is how she can do it independently. They even can tell you, oh, get a square piece of paper. So I gave her origami paper, how to fold it, so you can understand what halves are like, understand what quarters are like. When the kids are able to read, they can do a lot of this by themselves. And it gives them a sense of accomplishment that they were able to teach themselves. At least my daughter is very independent. So she honestly prefers and is a lot less whiny if she's doing it by herself. And then I go back and correct if needed. And I've taught her to put stars on things that she doesn't understand and just move on. And then I can help her and we can figure out what it was. So, yeah. So that's that. We really like the curriculum. As you can see, it has really nice building blocks for creating a solid base in math. And we like the kind of artistic aesthetics and that it's not very many pages because my kid gets overwhelmed when it's too many pages. And I took a few videos of her doing, for example, subtraction to 100 lesson. I'm just going to speed it up so you can kind of see how she was doing it. And I took videos of her doing some of the math games as well. And you can see how her mind works, even though she's not very verbal about it. I always ask her, explain to me how you solved this. How did you know 72 plus 12 was 84? Sometimes, if I'm lucky, I can catch it on video. She does say it sometimes, and I think I got it a couple times on video. And just to see how these tricks shape the way she discusses math and is able to solve problems easily makes me a happy homeschool mom. So I'll let you see that, and thank you for watching. So how do we do the equation? Right, equation. What would the equation be? 30 minus 4 equals 5. 66. That's an equal left. Good job. All right, what's the next one?
There are 56 purple flags and 40 orange flags. A parade.
At a parade.
At a parade, how might feel orange flags? There is.
How would you write your equation?
No. There's 16.
That is right. It is 16, which was. How did you figure it out?
Because we need the 10 to get to 50 and then the 6 ones.
That's right. Okay, write 16, and then you can answer the second question. It's question B.
How many flags are there in all?
Okay,
So 96.
that's right. And how did you get that?
Because if we erase the 6, it's 50, and that's 90. Then we add the 6, and then it's 90.
96. Very good. All right. All right, so we are doing an activity called 3 in a row to 100, which is in the teacher manual. And it's practicing addition with 2-digit numbers. So each person draws 3 cards. So we've got our numbers printed out from the Black Line Masters. And you pick 3 numbers, and you pick 2 of them to make a 2-digit number. And then you add the third one, and then you mark it on your grid. And the first person to get 3 in the row wins. So go ahead. What are you going to pick?
86.
So switch the 6 around so that it looks like 86. Okay, 86.
Plus 2 is 88.
Okay, so mark 88. Good job. All right, let's do this one now. Let's see. This is our 3 numbers. Okay, so we're going to do 34 plus 1 is 35. Can you find 35? Where's 35?
35.
All right, so here, do a dot on it. Right here. 35. Good job. You want to get 3 in a row. Is there any way to get something close?
55.
32 plus 5?
55 would be good. It'd be here. Then you could get 45.
That's true. All right, okay, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to get the yellow.
That's our color.
You're not yellow.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yes, okay. So I'm going to do 55, and maybe I'll be able to get 45 next time. All right, your turn.
I could do 79 and then get a 70. 79.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah, we could do diagonal. Good job. This game is called Race to 100. So the first thing you do is you pick any number between 0 and 15, and you put your character on it. And then we are going to pick, then each person picks any number between 0 and 20, and then you add it to it, and then you move your character. And the first person to get exactly to 100 wins. So what number do you want between 0 and 15? You want 15, 10, 8?
Wait, we can do 15.
Yes, you can do 15.
Okay, 15.
That's 16.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What do you want, Boo?
40.
14? Okay, so we'll be on 14. Now, Lily gets to pick any number between 0 and 20, and you add it to 15.
20.
So that would give 20 plus 15 is?
35.
All right, put your character on 35. All right, so we have 14.
This is fine.
We're going to add 15 to 14, which is going to be, no, we'll add 20 to 14, which is going to be 34.
Hi, the voice next to me.
All right, your turn, Lily.
What numbers?
Any number between 0 and 20.
There is no more 20.
It doesn't matter. You just add it. You say, okay, 35 plus 20, and then you put your character on the new number. Or you could say...
55.
Okay, move it to 55. All right, we're going to add 20 again so we can be fast. So it's going to be 54.
Dude, why are you always in front of me?
It looks like they're fighting.
Yeah, like, look at my thing. You have a sword? Well, my thing is so cool. Look at this baby sword that's so green. Okay, so 55 plus 20 is 75.
Okay. And 54 plus 20 is 74. Okay.
Okay, so 95.
You did 75 plus 20 is 95. Okay. We're going to do 74 plus 10, which is 84.
Hi, Boo. So you want me to win?
Well, the only way you can get to 100 is you have to add exactly what number gets you to 100. You have to pick the right number. 95 plus what is 100?
There is no. I can't.
You can't.
Wait.
What?
95 plus 5.
Yep.
So I win.
Now we're going to do some fun, which is kind of like a war. Each person gets 4 cards, and then you can either turn it into two-digit numbers and add them together, or you can do 2-digit number and add a 1-digit number together. I mean, I guess if it was 0, 7, that would be 7. So you could do 90 plus 7. Or you could do 90 plus 70, but the point is you want to get closest to 100. The person that's the closest to 100 wins. So I've got my cards. Well, you have to use all of them.
Fine, then like this.
All right, so these are mine.
90 plus
So
7.
keep trying until you think you got the closest to 100. And let me see mine. Let's see if I did this. 54 plus maybe 32. Oh, wait. No, maybe if I did 52.
But can I make it 6 and 9?
No, you have to pick one side.
No, like, it
I think I'm going to stick with this.
6 and 9.
Okay, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to get 95. You won. 90 plus 7 is 97. Okay, so this is...
Again.
All right, okay.
Those are my points.
Those are your points. You won. Actually, you could take mine. So.
Yeah, because I won.
All right, now take another 4. Flip them over. You have 4? Good.
Yeah.
All right, I have 4 here. Okay.
I'm making this 9.
So, let's see.
9.
Maybe 49 plus...
Can it be more than 100?
It can, but you want to be closest to 100.
At least?
It could
I
be...
could make mine higher.
That doesn't mean it would have been closer. Anyways, you won that one. Let's see, 49 plus 38 is 87.
99 and 51.
You think that is going to be closer? What's 99 plus 51?
Fine. This.
Oh, what's 99 plus 15? No.
Can I be more than 100?
Yes, you can. So if I'm 85, that means that I'm 15 away. So you need to be closer than 15 if you want to win. Either way.
You're
so
15?
I'm 15 away from 100 because I have 85.
And what number are you?
I'm 85.
Okay.
So if you want to be...
95.
No.
I'm in 95.
You're 95 plus 21.
Okay, I'm 98. See?
No.
See? Fine. 95
Mhm.
plus 2 and 1 is 3.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You could try and make it smaller by switching these and say 95 plus 12.
Yes, that will work.
What's 95 plus 12?
Ah! 107?
95 plus 12 is 107. So you're
won.
only 7 away,
I-
and I'm 15 away. You did win. Good job.